Hi guys, my name is Sadie McGee, and my capstone is called The Problem with Stuff, Barriers and Solutions to a Free Store. So I'm going to leave some time for questions at the end, but feel free to leave them in the chat now or throughout my presentation, or you can just ask them with your voice at the end. So first, I'm going to start with the background and I'm going to explain a little bit about this linear economy. So, the linear economy is an economic model where raw materials are extracted from the ground. They are then made into products used by us and then disposed of. So, this model, as you can probably tell, is not very sustainable. College campuses are huge examples of this model because there's a large population that is living there for a short amount of time and they move quite often. And this makes college campuses hubs of stuff. So there are currently limited systems to rehome all of this stuff back to students and staff. This project proposes a free store to address this issue of waste on college campuses and encourages the movement of items around UW. It works to perpetuate the principles of a circular economy, where instead of stuff moving in a line, like in this diagram, it moves more in a circle. So this leads us to figure one, which is a diagram of demonstrating the volume of stuff that is discarded during residence hall move out at UW. This is the donations that are collected by UW Recycling's SCRAM program, which stands for Student Cleanup, Recycling, and Move Out. They collect items from the residence hall and distribute them to various charities and nonprofits around Seattle. The graph shows the data from 2013 to 2023, and you can see there's a huge amount of waste that comes out of the residence halls every year. The largest weight was in 2019 with 43.5 tons, which is equivalent to 7 elephants worth of usable goods. There's a significant drop in the volume of stuff in 2020 during COVID when there was not a lot of students living on campus. But as you can see, there's been a steady increase since then. So we can expect that the numbers will eventually get back to the way they were in 2019 unless there's intervention. So the capacity to redistribute all of this stuff is limited, and we have to factor in the energy that is needed to schlep all of it off campus. And I want to note that the SCRAM program is only for on-campus stuff and does not include the items of students living off campus. So all of this led me to my research question, which is, what are the barriers to implementing a free store on a university campus, and how could the University of Washington do it? So what are the solutions to those barriers? So for my internship, I interned with UW Recycling to write a proposal for a UW free store with my internship partner, Sarah Spector. To accomplish this research, I interviewed 6 universities with free store programs across the US. I interviewed on-campus reuse entities that are involved in reuse and basic needs. And then I also interviewed on-campus stakeholders. And then we also administered a survey with UW students to gain some information about how a free store could best serve them. And then I also completed a literature review on consumption patterns and reuse culture. And this led me to my results, which highlighted some pretty key barriers and solutions. The first one is finding and securing a physical space. So, difficulty in finding a space was pretty unanimous across everyone we interviewed. Even UW groups found it hard to obtain a space, especially one that's central to campus because UW is so large. So, one solution to this is free pop-ups, which are small events that are held monthly or quarterly before a permanent space is acquired that help to see what type of items people have and want and create a flow of how a store would operate in a low-stakes setting. The second solution was introduced by the California State University in Sacramento, and they rolled out a free reuse app, which is essentially a Facebook Marketplace, but you'd have to have your UW ID to be on it. The next barrier is obtaining and maintaining funding. So a solution to this is grants. Two on-campus grants are the Campus Sustainability Fund and the Student Technology Fee. Another solution to this is a first-year flea market, which is modeled after Washington University in St. Louis. And essentially at the beginning of the school year, they have a big flea market where they sell items that they collected from the year before. And this is the only time they ever ask for money as the free store. And that money is then the money they make from that one flea market, which is outside the residence halls, is then used for the whole year to fund the entire program. So it's pretty successful. And then last but not not last, there's actually quite a few more barriers, but this is the last major one that I saw as a pattern is gathering or gaining university support. So in a solution to this is to gather student support. So we found time and time again that when talking to free stores, that when students support the programs, schools see how critical they are. So this is where pop-up data, like in the finding and securing a space, will be really important because that data will then be used to present to UW to show them that students want this to happen and students are already engaging in programs like this. So, why does this all matter? On a basic level, it reduces campus waste, and in this, it also extends the life cycle of products and keeps products out of the landfill. It encourages mindful consumption among people on campus and those who use the store. It also serves as a demonstration of the power of social movements. So, policies are really important, as you'll see in a lot of these other presentations, but social movements also have a lot of power if they're done effectively. And as a whole, it works to shape responsible consumers outside of college. So it shows students and staff that there are ways to sustainably consume and to share and build a community through sharing. So, what's the next steps for the free store? The next step for the free store is to begin organizing pop-ups on campus and collect data for these. These are small, low stakes event that can then be helped to collect data for an actual store in the future. As a listener, what can you do with all this information? So, my first tidbit is to start engaging locally in low consumption, community based environmental action. Programs like the free stores, but just reuse programs as a whole. They exist everywhere, but especially in Seattle. So it's important that we find them and support them. I'm not suggesting that everyone stops shopping on Amazon or changing their habits immediately. It's hard to consume sustainably in the systems that we currently engage in. So I'm just asking that everyone consumes mindfully. And if we want the systems to change, we must help them change by supporting small scale change. So next time you're moving or looking to buy something, think about how you can both lean on and give back to your community through sharing. So that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. I want to thank my site supervisor, Liz, for being so excited about this project and making me so excited about this project. It's really special to have someone's care for something flood into you like hers did to me with this project. Thanks for listening.